When we started the conversation around inflation, we planned on having 12 guests on this show. But as more and more guests developed interests, we took a bolder step and added two more, something we don't usually do. We're going to share 14 lessons we learned this season and one extra bonus at the end. Lesson number one, see what you can reuse. Consumers and business owners need to look at the sustainability of their supply chain going forward. Identify what resources you can reuse. Aim to eliminate single-use products from your supply chain.
But people are being more careful in what they're buying, in reusing the stuff that they have again, which I think is really important, and it brings it back to that cost piece again. So we're being more conscientious of the resources we have, John, and how we're going to reuse them in going forward.
Lesson two, turn uncertainty into competitive advantage. Use the cost of living crisis and economic uncertainty to deliver more quality and value to your customers. This will help to differentiate your business from your competitors.
Yeah, there are a lot of headwinds, and there are a lot of cold headwinds out there. And I think really, you point about entrepreneurs thinking about ways to survive through this, or consumers or governments. It's like things are different now. Doing the same thing as you did even 2 years ago is not going to work anymore, because we're in a completely different scene. I talk a lot about uncertainty and turning that into a competitive advantage. If you go back 5 years, what might have worked then is not what would not have worked 2 years ago. Then we have COVID, things changed again, and now we're into recession, and with a whole bunch of complicated interrelating factors. I think what we need today is to be willing to take account of the new scenario you find yourself in, the new situation you find yourself in.
Lesson three, actively listen to people. Family members, friends, or people in your community may be struggling to make ends meet. Actively listen to what people are saying to you and empathize with them. Avoid imposing your thoughts or solutions on people.
Be aware that the people are struggling. Use your empathy. Be a good friend. Listen to somebody. Check in with people. See if they're okay. If you can do something to help, do something to help. A lot of the time, listening is helping. But just, I think we need to be much more aware of the impact it's having on people, and we can all help with that.
Lesson four, focus on providing quality. Many successful businesses were born during a recession. Focus on providing quality products or services to your clients. At the same time, keep an eye on the cost base within your business.
And you've got to continue your business development. This is the time when you've really got to work hard on that rather than hibernating. And other business expenses tend to be things like fuel and transport, but also business premises. There are lots of ways that you could reduce your costs without reducing the quality of your work.
Lesson five, be collaborative. If you are renegotiating contracts with clients or suppliers, keep in mind what their expectations are. Be collaborative and aim for a win-win scenario.
Too often we take a somewhat adversarial approach to fixing problems around finances, around budgets, etc. And in my experience, kind of the best results come about when the buyer and the seller sit down together and work out how they can make it work for them both. So there's a great expression from the farming community, which is, you got to leave something on the table for the other fella. And I think sometimes when we get into cost-cutting mode, we don't want to leave anything on the table for anybody. We want to take it all for ourselves,
Lesson six, grow your influence. If you are a successful business person, be prepared to share your knowledge with other people. It is a great way to grow your influence and open doors to new possibilities.
I heard a wonderful saying, John, many, many, many years ago, and it stuck with me. And it was, if you're more fortunate than somebody, build a bigger table, not a higher fence.
Lesson seven, invest in productivity. Money left in deposit accounts loses value over time. Business executives need to consider ways of investing to boost productivity and increase supply. Once supply and demand are normalized, inflation can be brought back under control.
One thing that we know when we're in an inflationary environment is that money in the bank is losing value basically as you sleep. So if there are opportunities to be able to invest any of that money in order to increase productivity, then now would be the time to be doing that and trying to generate as much value as possible out of the assets that you have, whether that's your personal productivity or the productivity of your business. If you can increase the value that is being created, then that is going to start to help to rebalance the imbalance that we've got.
Lesson 8, have conversations. If you've been investing in a defined contribution pension plan for several years, have a conversation with your financial advisor. You might want to safeguard your pension fund against rising inflation or volatility in the equity markets.
The communication is the big thing. So if you have pension pots that you haven't looked at in a long time, make sure to dig them out and have a look at them, because what might have been suitable for you 15 years ago mightn't be suitable now, and you might have done very well in the markets and you could end up being more at risk now. So it's just very important just to have a look at your policies, try and get them in order so that you know where they are, and make sure just to be in communication with your advisor on a regular basis. And I think that's the communication piece has got more and more pertinent and important.
Lesson 9, buy what you need. As Christmas and the New Year approaches, avoid the temptation to buy in bulk. This will help to cut down on food waste. We can still enjoy ourselves with a little less.
I think one of the biggest problems, John, here in the Western world, we waste a lot of food. We waste a lot of things. And I myself included. I mean, I'm saying that, I have to take stock. I knew that in Vietnam, we only buy enough food for the day because we cook fresh. Every day we go to the supermarket. We don't have this kind of luxury here. So we buy like 3 different type of bread. We'll buy, all kind of cheese. And then sometimes we buy it in a big item and we can't consume it and it go bad. So
the waste bin.
Exactly. Wasting is the thing.
Lesson 10. Define your purpose. We are in uncertain times. That should not stop us from taking the opportunity to do something meaningful. Define your purpose and identify your ideal client. Now is a good time to start the business of your dreams.
So shifting the focus from ourselves to the others, it's an incredible opportunity to really feel excited again about our job and our purpose. So yes, of course, we are through a recession. Inflation is rising, but and there's other people that can give advice on what to do in terms of how to tackle that at a personal and business level. But I think my focus is really kind of to travel within yourself and also take this as an opportunity to really to do something that is meaningful. And if you haven't done it before, why not now?
Lesson 11, control the controllables. There has been a lot of negative news in the media of late. Rising interest rates, the cost of living crisis, redundancies in the technology sector. It is easy to become distracted. Instead, concentrate on controlling what is within our realm.
Sure. So again, it goes back a related small bit to the first answer I gave you, which is a phrase that I haven't invented, but it's one of my favorites, is control the controllables. Right? Check what is in your control and make the most out of that, right? So one of the things you can control as a human being is your presence, right? Your presence, being there for other people, being open for other people, that kind of thing, meeting people. And that's relatively, unless you need to travel, but, it's relatively cost-free.
Lesson 12, supplement your income. One way of overcoming the cost of living crisis is to supplement your income by working in the gig economy. Consider taking on part-time courses to update your skill set. You will have a wider range of jobs to choose from.
Talking about the side gigs, there's so many virtual jobs out there today in technology, customer service, tutoring, education in general, even higher ed. So there are a lot of choices out there now. People that have a low education level, they have fewer choices, because when you have more education, that's what education gives you, is more choices. I happen to have a master's, so I have a lot more open to me, whereas someone who only has a high school education, they may not have the opportunities. But there are still, believe it or not, I've seen jobs that only require a high school education. So there's plenty for everybody out there.
Lesson 13, peace of mind. Don't let the cost of living crisis overwhelm you. Take back control of your life by having a monthly budget on a spreadsheet. This will provide you with peace of mind.
If you're not aware of where you are, you can't do anything about it. So you need to be conscious of exactly what you're doing, even to the basics of people who don't budget. And I mean, like, that could be done very simply. You get yourself an Excel spreadsheet. How much money is coming in? What do we need the money to go out on? What have I got left? It's not a complex thing to do. And it gives you peace of mind. It means you know where you're going, you know where you stand, you know what you need on a monthly basis. And actually, it can kind of give you that, because peace of mind is what we're looking at here. We have to avoid worrying about the stuff we can't control and actually get on top of the stuff that's within our remit.
Lesson 14, look after your well-being. The inflation and cost of living crisis has impacted a lot of people. Look after your mental well-being. Find the time to meet with friends and family, to share stories and to have fun.
Spend time with friends and family. We're social beings. It doesn't cost a lot. You don't have to go out for fancy meals. You don't have to do fancy things with your friends and family to spend time with them. Try and look at cost-effective ways you can do that. Community is so important right now, and it's important that we stick together as much as possible.
2 years ago, I started my business as a professional speaker and career coach at the very onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. In that time, I've made tremendous strides in developing my business and my tribe. If you're considering starting a business, now is as good a time as ever to do that. Or if you have started a business in the past couple of months, my advice to you is to persevere. On behalf of the GYFT Show team, I'd like to thank you for all your support over the past couple of seasons, and we look forward to seeing you again next season. In the interim period, please subscribe to my channel and like this video for the algorithm.